is going to sing a song for us. Okay. Okay.
Mojo mojo chutsuki ko shabe mojo chutsuki ko shabe chutsujo dalo ungaya mega awe Jo Chesugi Go Shabe Chesu Joy Ilam Ka King Dam Ba Che Me Ba Ye De Wa Ye
Translate, what's the meaning?
Có bây giờ mình làm bài học ca đi, ai biết cái bản học ca làm ca chung này.
Can you translate it?
What does that mean?
Meaning?
All right. So the translation for his song is actually like it's a kind of a sentimental song. Yeah, not exactly, but the lyrics. If I translate the lyrics in a very the short the way, so like he says, I mean, it's a it's a song for a safe journey. Yeah, it's a song for a safe journey, and like the majo majo, which actually means please do not go, and leaving him behind, and that's and then that's the song is actually dedicated to everyone, but especially for one. Alright, so okay, so so this is actually your last day, I mean your last night in Bhutan, and just before we wind up with everything, so I will actually give you some of the flashbacks that we have seen in Bhutan. Yeah. So because I'm sure like some of you might have forgotten some of the places that we have seen. So I may not go in detail, but then some of those key points or the key, the highlights that we have seen in our country. So like in the very first day as we arrived, we actually had a night drive.
Very
That's
long
what
drive.
you know very well. And then we drove towards like the Punakha. So Punakha is Punakha being one of the most historical places, the place that we have in our country. So we had like 2 nights in there. So the next day we went for an excursion to the Gangte Valley, and then I'm sure like that you enjoyed the picnic in there. All right. So that's actually nice to know it. And then also the festival, which we had seen into a very old monastery which actually dates back into the 17th century.
Yes.
And then the back to like the Punakha, and the next day we have seen the most beautiful and the majestic zong that we have in our country, so which is the Punakha zong. Yeah. And that's that dates back into 1637, and that is the second oldest zong that we have. Of course, it has been renovated, but then it does have, you know, the architecture, everything is the same design that we had before. Yeah. So nothing has actually changed, but then it is made into a very, you know, a very modest way, which when we went inside the temple, we saw the temple is very the different from what different from the temples that we have seen in other zones. Yeah. So like that's also the place where the kings are being coronated inside there. The royal weddings, whatever royal occasions that we have, so it actually happens in Punakha. Yeah. And that's the most the special thing, and that's the most the special zong. If you see that zong, then we don't really have to see other zongs, but we have seen a lot of them, and I know some of you are even zonged out. Yeah.
Song out.
Yeah. And then the next day, like I mean, on the same day we actually drove back to the Thimphu, and then that was a free day for us in Thimphu, where we they stopped over the pass, where we have seen also like 108 number of those Buddhist Bhutanese style stupas, which actually was built up back in 2003. That's a very new one, but still then that's one of the remarkable passes that we have in our country. And the highest motorable pass that we have is actually, you know, the further from Paro, when we go to another valley. But then the one which we have seen there, that's also one of the highest, the motorable pass that we have in our country. Yep. And then the very next day, we actually started our the program with the next we started with Simply Bhutan Museum, which was actually a living museum, and I have seen like a lot of you enjoying with the dances, especially with Jimmy and the Karma. So they also dance with you guys, and then I saw that you guys would enjoy it very much. Yeah. And that's that could be one of the highlights, where you actually get to interact with the local inside the museum in there. Of course, we are not so local, but we are from Bhutan, so
Yes, have to
that
be
is
local.
like a local thing. And then the painting school, which is the School of 13 Arts and Crafts in Bhutan. Of course, you didn't really get to see all. We don't really get to see all the 13 different arts and crafts, but still, then we can see. We could actually see all those like the very few special ones, especially the sculpture, the wood carving, and then also the painting. Yeah. So those three are the most special things that we have seen inside there. And then that is an institute which was mainly established in order to keep up with all the age-old traditions of the arts and crafts of our country. Yeah. So that's that's the one which we have seen it. And then after the lunch, we went to the National Library, where we also saw some of the religious textbooks in the first floor, and then the biggest book in the world. Yeah, and then that does have very limited editions in there, only like the 500 copies. So one of the copy out of 500 is in Bhutan. Yeah, and that's what we have seen into the National Library, and. So after the National Library, then we also had been to the viewpoint, where we saw the view from the Zong in Thimphu, yeah, and then to the paper factory, where we saw some like the people doing the traditional the handmade papers, and then the tree or the bush that we use for making the traditional paper. So that's what we call it as a Daphne. Daphne. Yeah, Daphne. It's not really a tree, it's a kind of a bush, but it grows as tall. Yeah, kind of a tall one. And then in the evening, we actually split our group. Some of us that have been to the Zong, the Thimphu Zong, which was a visit only after the office hours, and then some of us even left back to the hotel. Yeah, and that's what we have done in the very first day in Thimphu, and on the very second day, the first thing that we did is we went to the National Memorial Stupa. Yep, the National Memorial Stupa, and that's the stupa which was built up in the honor of the king number 3. So of course we don't really have any funeral signs in there. We don't have ashes or we don't have body remains or nothing inside there. But then it has been mainly dedicated for him by his mother. Yeah, and since he was a very religious-minded king, so his mother wanted to dedicate a stupa which is mainly built up in the form of Tibetan style. Yep. And that's the one of the biggest Tibetan style stupa that we have in Thimphu, in our country. Yep. And that's from 1974. So they started in 1973, but they consecrated in 1974. So it actually took about a year to build the stupa in there. And then, so after that, I'm sure like everybody knows about that place, the giant Buddha. The biggest Buddha that we have. And then this is one of the massive construction which actually cost more than $100 million to construct that, like the statue in there. Yeah. And it's completely built up with the bronze. So it's 169 feet tall. Yeah, 169 feet tall. Not from the base, not from the ground level, it's from the throne. From the throne until the top is about 169 feet tall. And that is actually nominated as one of the heritage, the wonder of the world. But then it's not really, it has not really become the wonder of the world at the moment. So the people are actually expecting to be the 8th wonder of the world. Yeah, but not at the moment. It has been nominated, but it didn't really come into the list right now. Yeah. And so after that we have gone back for the lunch, and then after the lunch, then we went to the textile museum, where we saw a lot of intricate kind of the patterns from the women and the men dress, and whatever the dresses that we have seen into the first compartment is mainly like ceremonial dresses. Everything is worn up during the time of festivals, the rare occasions that we have in our country, especially those religious festivals and all. And we get to wear once or twice in a year. And those are the very expensive kind of the fabrics that they weave, and then that's woven for like in hundreds of years in Bhutan. Yeah, and that's what we have. And then in the second compartment, that's the general museum. Yeah, where we have seen some of the textiles and also some of the displays of the different like religious objects or some jewelries and all. So that's what we have seen into the museum in there. And then the next day, it was yesterday when we came from Thimphu to Paro, we saw the Semtowa Dzong, which is the first one, and then we also stopped on the way where we saw the rivers meeting together, which is the Thimphu and the Paro River coming together and meeting on the point, where we call it as a Chu Zone. Yeah. And we saw, and then we had, I hope you had a wonderful lunch at the farmhouse. Yep. And that's a very typical kind of lunch that you have, sitting on the floor, and you know, of course I know most of you have demanded for tables, but yeah. And then like that was the lunch that we had, and then after that the museum and the Zong of Paro. So that was the last Zong that we had. And today, the last and the final day, which we had a great hike, and congratulations to all of you that you have been to like the Tiger's Nest, to the temple, and then also those who have actually tried to get onto the viewpoint riding a horse. Yeah. So so these are some of the things that we have done, and most of the places that we have seen in our very short trip in Bhutan. So these are mostly like the kind of the highlights that we have, and these are the most. Of course, we do have a lot of sites to be seen. Yeah, but these are the main highlights that we have in our country. Yeah, and then I hope that you enjoyed your trip in here, in our country. So on behalf of all our team in here, like Jimmy, Tobge, Karma, Krishna, again one more Karma, and Namge. So especially on behalf of all 4 of us, like the guides, the Karma, Sonam, Tashi, and myself, we would like to thank for all our drivers, so driving us very safe. So they are the most important people.
Yes.
And then also, thank you very much for your cooperation. So it has been, I hope it has been a successful trip in in Bhutan. And then, of course, it's really hard to manage, the kind of a big, the large group like this. But still, then you could manage. It's all because of your cooperation that you have. Yeah. And then,
mỗi người một xe, mỗi người nào mà represent cái xe đó đưa lên.
Yeah. And then, finally, I hope that when you get back to US, I hope you'll be a good ambassador for Bhutan.
Sure.
Yeah. So thank you very much on behalf of all my friends, all my teams in here. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hey, I would like to say something.
All right. You're welcome.
First of all, I would like to present all of us here. Would like to say thank you for your country and your guide, the tour guide and the drivers. Do fantastic job for us right here. Your country is beautiful and your people is so nice. For sure we will go home and we'll recommend people and introduce Bhutan for everyone. And we're very happy today because everyone come back one piece. And the day is look like ending for someone, but the fun is look like ending for someone, but for some of us it's just the beginning. So we would like to invite you guys join us today. Come out, we bring us to some local bar and karaoke. So we have about 11 people. If somebody wants to join, you can join us, and we open for everyone. Not like I just say for a guy only. I make a mistake, okay? Okay. Anyone can join, and they know where to bring us. So we have some more fun tonight before we're leaving tomorrow. Because the day is still very early, so we need to enjoy the last day in Bhutan. Right? Okay. Thank you.
Wow.
I think that somebody that would like to manage car home.
I will only
Bus number 2.
That's bus number 2.
on behalf of our number 2 bus, I just want to say a few words. That my comrade here already spoke volume of it, but we are leaving Bhutan tomorrow, most of us, but our heart, stay here for a long time, and we just want to say a few words to show our appreciation for you people, and one most important thing that I learned, and I hope that you accept it, that your modesty and your honesty and your hard work, and the most important thing, your motto is, happiness is above everything. And I learned the hard way, during my 70 years living somewhere else. I learned it, and it's late, but it's better than never. So, I always keep it in my heart, and I will try to pass it on to my children. And here's a little token, to show our appreciation for both of you.
Bus number 2. Bus number 2.
Okay. So
This is the bus. This is the for you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
and thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you,
Okay, phải được đấy.
Chưa chuẩn bị.
Đưa hết cho nó luôn, mai khỏi mất công.
Đúng rồi.
Mai khỏi mất công. Ngày mai nó bận rộn lắm.
Em sẽ tới ngày mai đi. Em sẽ tới ngày mai.
And I also would like to say a few words about the schedule for tomorrow.
Yes.
Maybe some of us want to leave early. I think, we would like to go earlier than to see the temple. So, it's maybe half want to leave early, maybe half want to see, the temple and then go to the airport. So, would you please accommodate us by having, maybe 2-3 buses for, separate group.
Okay.
One, one group want to go, like you said, to the temple and then to the airport. One go directly from the hotel after breakfast. Maybe 10 o'clock, you go to the airport. So,
I guess like 6 of you are leaving for Delhi. So those leaving for Delhi, they're leaving early at 6:15 from the hotel.
6:15. We know that.
And then those, I just wanted to know the number of people who want to visit the temple.
Raise your hand.
raise your hand if you want to
raise your hand,
go
sorry.
to the temple.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Count it.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So those the who want to see the temple, you might have to check out from the hotel a little bit earlier. So which means like the 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock you can leave the hotel with your bags. Yeah, and then there will be one coach for you. Gajmi. Yeah. So bus number 2 will be leaving at 10. Right?
Okay.
So you'll be going to visit the temple and then to the airport. And then those who want to go straight away to the airport 10:30. So there will be 2 coaches which will take you to the airport at 10:30. So you'll get earlier in there.
Okay, 10:30.
So 10:30. Yes.
The flight is 1:30.
It's at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
No, 1:30.
It's in now 1 o'clock. It's in now.
The number. I
And
mean,
how far from here to the airport?
from the hotel it will be about 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay.
So 10:30 means you get to the airport by 11. Yeah.
Okay.
So 11 is the check-in time. So those who are visiting the temple, you'll also get down at the same time.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's what we will do with that. But then please leave your bags before you check out, maybe around 15-20 minutes before you leave, before the leaving time.
Đi thẳng là 10 rưỡi. Thêm.
All right. So, excuse me.
Yeah. Listen.
So those who are leaving at 6 o'clock, I mean 6:15, so you can actually inform the decks to have your wake-up call and everything, because we don't know your room number. So with your room number, you can let the decks know about the room number and then at what time you want to wake up, and then also if you need some breakfast, you can inform the decks. So if you don't need the breakfast, so Karma will take care of that.
Can you do a recount again? Because some people I'm hearing here, they changed their mind.
Okay. Once again, those who are visiting the temple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 minutes. Yeah, anyway, there will be one coach for those who are visiting the temple. Yeah? Yes. So please be at 10 o'clock, those who are going to the temple. So the bus will be leaving at 10 sharp. So if you're not there at 10, then we presume that you are not going for the temple. Then the next bus will be only at 10:30 in the.
Just leave the luggage out.
Yeah, just about 15 minutes before you. Yeah. So those who are leaving back to the hotel, we will leave now, and then those who are staying back for something in the town, so you'll have one coach for that.
Excuse me, what time we should leave the luggage out?
So those who are leaving at the 10:30, 10:15, you can leave your bags out. And those who are leaving at 10, quarter to 10, you can leave your bags out. Yeah. So 15 minutes before. So one second. Those who are going to karaoke.
Karaoke, raise your hand. To the bar tonight. To the bar tonight. Karaoke to the.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Vừa hát đó, vừa hát mà.
Đâu có hát đâu, ông này hát.
Vừa hát.
2 more here. Yeah.
Karaoke, please. Raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7. Okay, so anyways, those who are going to karaoke, we will be going with bus number 4.
Number 4, Jimmy. Number 4.
Bus number 4, okay? That's all.